Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag with Jimmy D, back for another Monday night live. You see, I'm back in the cave. There's a reason behind that. Had a little mix up at work, so I got to work from home for a little while. So it was just easier to set everything up back in my little makeshift office. So we got that going on. But before we get going, make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, share. Had a fun time Thursday night. We know it's the off season; things are a little slow, but we definitely want to keep it going. Wednesday. You got Florida State, man. You know, your Miami Hurricane guy's going to have a hard time with that. We got Charlie Ward, Florida State Seminoles, maybe even a Knick. That's right. I forgot he played for the Knicks. He'll be coming in, talking some Seminole, Miami rivalry and all that kind of good stuff. And then Thursday, the exciting one, is we got Dave Campo, been with the Cowboys coaching staff for 18 years, seen it all from 89 up into 2000, so or around that time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But Jimmy D, how was your weekend? You enjoying life?
I'm enjoying life. Well, first of all, I got to ask you a question. Mike Tag, have you ever been to Cleveland?
No. I've been to Cincinnati. Never been to Cleveland.
Well, Cincinnati ain't bad. Cleveland, a disgusting sewer, a pit. It's like a toilet bowl. Much like Philadelphia, right? Very much like Philadelphia. So if I compared Cleveland, they're about the same, except in Cleveland, the 30-year-old guys aren't living in their mommy's basements. But anyway, that's where my Knicks have to play. And that's where we went into Saturday night and took care of our business. Randall just came out of the walking boot, threw down 14 in the first half. Brunson comes out 21 points in the second half. Donovan Mitchell, eat your heart out, pal. And then, talking about garbage, my Rangers tomorrow night have to cross through the tunnel into the garbage state of New Jersey, into that pit of hell called Newark. We're going to go into New Jersey and take care of our business. But you know what really pisses me off, and I don't know how this happened. I don't know what brain surgeon did this. The Knicks and the Rangers are playing at the same time tomorrow night.
Really?
Which is
that don't usually happen.
It's ridiculous. I don't know what or why that would happen. I mean, you're basically, most Madison Square Garden people, you're watching both teams. I mean, you have some people watch one or the other, but most people are watching both. That is absurd. You're splitting. You're probably going to get 60% Knicks, 40% Rangers, and they're just splitting the viewership. It's ridiculous.
Well, Ultra Cowboy doesn't think too highly of your Knicks. He said they're sponsored by Bud Light.
Oh my God, Ultra Cowboy is always.
He's always good for sight. He's always good to rag on us a little bit. But no, we want to get into some basketball. We're going to get in and let you get into hockey. Your boy ain't going to be able to talk much about it. But we'll start with a little football, if that's fair.
Okay.
And maybe it has a little bit to do with New York, maybe.
And it may. But I want to take one step back to the Thursday night show. Okay. Last Thursday night show, yes. When our friend Carl from Philadelphia was acting up a little bit and he was booted. Has he been reinstated?
I don't control that. I have no issue here. I'm glad you said something because I don't know. I don't have any issues with hate. If you're bringing valid points, like the thing I'll say about Ultra, he's a Dak hater. He hates Tolbert. But at least he brings substance to what he's saying. He's not regurgitating the same crap over and over and over and over and over because it gets tired. If you're just going to do that, there's no value. I mean, why even watch it? I mean, I love the hours that, they help build, but there's really no reason to even watch it because you're not bringing any value. We want to bring people to bring value. So, I mean, that was Kelly K9. That was Kelly K9. He pulled the trigger, just like you. Whoever's on the show has the right to pull the trigger if someone's getting out of hand and give them the ban. But I'm not, I don't do it unless you're getting out of hand. He just got to be, it was the same crap and there wasn't any value to what he's doing. So he did. I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's permanent. I don't know if he was just on that show, or maybe he got pissed off and he's gone. Poor Carl's gone forever. I don't know. But it's sad because I actually would like to ask, a legitimate question from the Eagles fans. Is you saw Jalen Hurts. He signed a pretty big contract, highest paid player in the NFL, I guess. And it's a matter of time. It's always next man up. $255 million contract, 5 years. But then I guess he's got some incentives to even get a little higher to 278 or something. Yeah, he did get fired on his day off. but it's good. The thing I'll give the Eagles a little bit of credit for in this respect is all these guys are coming up, and it's always that quarterback's going to get the next contract. You got Burrow, you got obviously Lamar Jackson. You know what's going to happen to him. You got Allen, you got all these guys, Herbert. You got all these guys that are going to be coming up. The number is just going to get higher because whoever signs next is just going to get above Hurts. The next one's just going to get above that one.
Right.
So it was a matter of time. I don't know this whole salary cap thing. Maybe Ultra can fill us in because it just seems like it's monopoly money. You're moving stuff around. You get these big contracts. So I don't know if it's legit, but no, they to Ultra's point, they paid him after one good year. And the thing and I don't know if it's just Cowboys hate or if there's a legitimate hate for Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott got a lot of heat for his contract. And then I'm listening to this, and Dak Prescott resume, had a few more years behind. He didn't get to the Super Bowl, so you could say, well, Hurts at least took his team to the Super Bowl, if that makes you feel good. But it was really one season. He was pretty bad the year before. So I don't know. I mean, it's pay me now, pay me later. You're rolling your dice with it, but they say they got their core locked up to 2024, so that gives them this year, next year. Maybe you make that run. They can redo contracts. You can do all this stuff, and to again, Ultra's point is they're paying him a lot of money.
Yes.
He runs a lot, and running quarterbacks tend to get hurt a little bit.
Well, and that's, to the point we always talk about. We talk about running backs having a shelf life. Running backs.
Yeah.
Now, that is why Lamar hasn't gotten paid because he's been out a lot. And we'll get to him in just a second.
Yeah.
But I agree with Ultra. He had one good season. Let's be honest. 22 touchdown passes, I think 6 or 8 interceptions, and he missed a game and a half.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. So, again, that shelf life, man, you're dropping that kind of guaranteed money on a running quarterback. I don't agree with it. I wouldn't do it.
And I mean, it's a tough call. If I take my Eagle hate off, if I'm an Eagle fan, I'm probably feeling pretty good. I mean, but they probably felt good about Carson Wentz when they signed that one. You don't know how it's going to work out. It's I don't know.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting because I like Hurts. That's the hard thing is I liked him in college. I liked everything about him. I hate that he went to the Eagles. Hey, what's up, Doug? How's it going, brother? But it's just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but it just goes to show the salary cap is all BS. You move the money around.
Right.
That's why, for the Cowboys and for Stephen Jones, the one thing I'll still get pissed off about is last season. They didn't spend the money. They had money to spend. They didn't do it. They could have moved stuff around. They could have went all in. The NFC obviously was wide open. It was Philly, San Francisco, and us. That was, those were going to be one of the 3 teams was going to end up going to the Super Bowl. You got that this year. At least they've made some moves this year. But again, I'd love them to see them lock up. You're going to have CD and you're going to have Diggs. These guys are coming up. If you don't pay now, it's like they did with Dak. They could have got Dak for 20-something million. They waited and waited and waited, and then he got the big deal. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. And I think I saw a comment about Dak. This is going to be a critical year for him, and they may, they if they sign him, he's going to be over that. If I were the Cowboys, I would not be restructuring any deal till I see another season. And if he's struggling, if he doesn't take him to the next level this year with the NFC the way it is, I think they got to take a long, hard look at do you start from scratch? Do you try and get someone else? I mean, what do you do? Because he's good, and sometimes he's really good, but in the key moments, it just hasn't happened for him for whatever reason.
No, I think this year you guys are building the offense around him, which is the way to do it. You know what I mean? And previously, I think that you guys were your OC, your offensive coordinator.
Who, Schottenheimer? But it's really McCarthy. You're
Yeah,
talking about Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore. I mean, just some absurd play calling and just putting him in bad spots, I thought. So now moving forward, I think that they're going to build it a little more around him, and I think that you're going to see a better year out of Dak, and then you see where the chips fall where they may, and then see what kind of contract he earns. But I think you're right. You give him one more year, but I don't see him he's not the guy who relies on his legs.
No, that's the thing I'll give Dak is, I mean, he's not, I mean, he's a pocket passer, but he's shifty, right? He's
Sure.
not gonna scare you with his speed, but he's a big dude. He can put a hurting on you, which is not good either because he can end up taking the punishment too. So I think with Dak is they've got the pieces around it, and it's interesting. Mike Martz had a breakdown, and they showed every. You remember Mike Martz from back in the day, all the younger people. He was an offensive coordinator, the greatest show on turf, and then he was the coach for the Rams after Vermeil left. He went through every interception, and a lot of them were communication mix-up with the receiver, tight end. Some of them were on him. But it just goes to show on that offense that Kellen Moore done. Again, I'm not going to pretend to be an offensive coordinator or an X's and O's guy in depth, but it was an option. There were option routes where, they can go this or they had to be on the same page, and they weren't on the same page on a lot of these. And I think what McCarthy's system's going to do is he's simplifying that. You run the route. That's where it goes. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be, if you want to call quarterback friendly, Dak friendly, whatever the hell you want to call it, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to allow the playmakers to get the ball in space and to make plays. So hopefully, again, it's all got to be proven out, but hopefully that's the case for the Cowboys, and it'll be an opportunity for, it's like I said, well, I don't need Dak to throw for 400 yards a game. I like 250 and a win. I'll take it all day long. We got in this huge argument, not really got in a huge, I didn't get in the argument, but some of these people on social media had the audacity and really the disrespect to have you choose between Troy Aikman, Tony Romo, and Dak Prescott. I mean, come on. I mean, are we seriously going to be talking? Now, if you want to do Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, okay. The argument should have been Danny White, Tony Romo, and Dak Prescott. If you want to make it an argument amongst three, you don't throw Troy Aikman in the mix of that. I thought it was disrespectful, and I know it got a lot of heat, but it just blows my mind sometimes with people. It's just that I'm a boomer, younger generation, I guess.
Complete lack of respect. A complete lack of respect for the history of the Dallas Cowboys when they bring up something like that. But you know what? Getting back, I agree with Ultra Cowboy. One good season, they're paying Hurts all that money. And I think that, I don't know if you saw also, a few hours ago, there was a report, couple reports, that now they're looking at Lamar Jackson signing $200 million with $130 of it guaranteed, which again, he's missing a lot more games than anybody. I mean, he missed, that's crazy. Why do you think Kyler Murray is not locked down right now as Arizona? Because they know. And those guys are more injury prone than running backs. Yeah. Right?
No, I mean Lamar Jackson's going to have that problem. But Atlanta, that might be a spot for him. You better keep an eye on it. You're going to be changing that tune. You'll be wearing that Lamar Jackson jersey. You're going to be all excited.
You know what though? But it's like Mike Tagg says all the time. He's wearing the Falcons jersey, then I'm going to root for him. But I don't want to be stuck in cap hell like we were. We're signing guys now. We're beefing up our defense. I'm a happy camper right now.
No, I'm with you. You. So it'll be interesting. Just a question in the chat. Do I think the Cowboys will draft a late round? I think they're going to draft a quarterback in this year's draft. I mean, it'll be late. It'll be, they're not drafting one early. But I think they definitely will be getting a quarterback. I don't know. I always thought, I forgot, I don't know which coach it was. They said you should draft a quarterback every year. So at some point in the draft, you just keep drafting quarterbacks because you may strike gold on one of them. So it's going to be interesting. But, bold prediction with the eighth pick, the Falcons select Bijan Robinson. He's creeping up on the draft board. I know Ultra he was early on the train. I told him, I said, I don't know much about, the what is that, Big 12 or whatever. But I started watching some stuff on him, seeing some highlights. I remember him in Alabama, but he's moving up the board. I know a lot of people had him dropping to Dallas, but I don't think he's going to drop that far. And I was one to say if he drops to Dallas or Dallas can sneak up to get him in a reasonable one, I mean, I'd be all for it because I love running backs, and I just if you get a guy like that can change the game, it'll be interesting. No way he goes that high, but he'll go before we draft to 26. I think the highest I've seen him, I think, was 10. Maybe what was it? The Eagles? Someone had them taking the Eagles, but there was the Texans, I think, wherever they're drafting. I saw either they trade down with somebody and they get it. So it's going to be, it'll be interesting.
Well,
let's see. They're only blue chippers in the draft. Bijan is one of them. Remember, Arthur Smith built that Titans offense around Derrick Henry. It's true. It's true.
And two things, Doug and Ultra, I know nothing about college football. So I know of, Bijan Smith. I know the name. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him. So I got to trust your guys' educated opinions on that.
Well, and the thing is I was talking to a buddy of mine, another Cowboys fan, is you look at running back. So if you can get a running back, if you get a Bijan Robinson, and you can get Bijan Robinson, in the draft. So you got him in the first round, you got him locked up for 4 years on a rookie deal. Then you got your 5th year that, you do the 5th year extension. And then if he's still good, you can franchise him, almost kind of like what the Giants did with Saquon. You got now you got 6 years out of the running back, and it seems to be 6 years is kind of that number where they start to decline. That's not a bad contract. That wouldn't be a bad contract for the Cowboys, or for any team that draft a running back. So I don't buy into you can't draft a running back in the first round. If you've got a guy that is as talented as him or one that's there, I don't look at it as a bad thing to draft a running back that high. I mean, if you talk to Kuiper, you got this, maybe Uncle Cheech knows, I don't know. But some people have, Robinson, the second best prospect coming out of the draft.
And to your point, prospect, not running back, but prospect. Overall,
no, nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's.
Right.
I mean,
no. I don't mean it that way. I mean overall. At any position.
Any position. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, unless you have a very, very specific need and there's a really good player, you take the best athlete, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Unless it's a quarterback or, again, you're in a position where you've got a specific need you got to get. I think with the Cowboys, the luxury that they've done to fill in some of the holes that they had in the offseason is they could take the best player available, whether it be a running back, whether it be a defensive tackle, whether it be a receiver, whether it be a cornerback. They have that option to where they can take the best offensive lineman, whatever it is, they can do something because they've kind of set themselves up. And like I said, with the conference the way it is, the NFC, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it's wide open. I mean, there is not. I mean, the AFC is a tough conference to be in right now. The quarterback situation. If you just look at quarterbacks, and it's a quarterback driven league. And you can look in the Super Bowl, it's usually the top quarterbacks of that season are deep in the playoffs and into the Super Bowl for the most part. I mean, really, unless there's going to be some big surprises, I mean, you don't know what San Francisco is going to do. Purdy, he came out and said, I don't think I'm going to, he may not even play next year. So they're putting all their hopes on Trey Lance, who hasn't played a meaningful game since before COVID. I mean, really. I mean, he played one, got hurt, but I'm talking about a season.
Yeah.
He hasn't, I should correct myself, he hadn't played a full season since before COVID, because he took a season off with COVID and then he was hurt or whatever else. So really, if you're looking at the league, you got to give Hurts, you give him his due, and you got Dak Prescott. Unless I'm missing something, I don't know what else is there, barring Aaron Rodgers coming back to Green Bay, which I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that's too far gone. They're not going to take him back, and he'll end up in New York eventually with this, this shit show that's going on right now. But, speaking of quarterbacks, a little bit on the comical side, did you see Russell Wilson? He was out golfing and was in the golf cart and went into the sand trap and
flipped over. I saw something happen to him, but I didn't see
his cart. I said, and I'm only laughing because he's okay. He didn't get hurt, but what more bad luck can this guy have that he flips his damn golf cart? Now, look, when you and I went golfing back in the day, we'd smash the golf carts and flip them because there might have been a little liquid intoxicant involved.
Yeah.
Right? So he's sober and he's flipping his golf cart.
That wouldn't be good. But thankfully he's all right. But we've been on. I stole a few golf carts in my day when I was a kid, and we had some fun with it. Thankfully, we never flipped it. But Ultra brings up a point, and I was thinking about this year. This is a nightmare scenario: is if the Jets somehow they fumble this and they don't get Aaron Rodgers and the 49ers come in and get them, that would be
disaster.
that would not make Mike Tag happy.
No.
I'm good riddance. I know we're gonna have to play him if he goes to the Jets, but it'll just be a regular season game. But I am done with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it would be nice to beat him like we did Brady and just kind of make yourself feel good. I know we've beaten him before, but just in the playoffs and stuff, he's just been a thorn in our side and just been a heartbreaker. But that'd be worst case scenario because like I said, I think the NFC is open. I think the problem the Cowboys and the Eagles are going to have is one, the division's better, so there's going to be more competition there. Two, they got to play the AFC East, which okay, let's imagine they get Rodgers. Now you're looking at 4 pretty good teams. Some really good. The other 2 aren't so bad. Their schedule is not going to be easy, so it'll be very interesting to see how that works out. Uncle Cheech, what did he say?
Sorry.
Moon Russell.
Yeah.
He probably would.
Is that why he flipped the
probably
golf
would.
cart ultra?
I don't know what the hell. I don't know how Uncle Cheech was doing, but yeah. So football, it's there's so much draft stuff. I'm draft out. I don't know about you, Jimmy. I am draft out. We've seen 5 million mock drafts. Everyone's got their opinion. We just don't know what's going to happen. The beauty of it is next Thursday we finally going to put it to bed. And Thursday, there won't be a show next Thursday. Take a night off to enjoy the draft, but I just want to, I'm just ready for this draft to get over because then that's training camp. Now we're having, for me, I know it's not for you, but for me, I'm having some fun. Now the football season's going. My team is now, I kind of analyze our roster. We got everything going. The schedule hopefully comes out soon with the dates set. We start planning the trips. I let Doug know where I'm going to be. Then we start planning some joint ventures. We get everyone together, have some tailgating, have some fun. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
And to your, to getting back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, I said a month and a half, before he went into hiding and whatever the hell he did, I didn't think that he would come to New York because I didn't think he'd be able to handle the media here. And the problem is, if he comes here, which it seems inevitable, and he tanks, man, I don't know if he's going to be able to take it. He's going to go back and hiding permanently. So,
I think.
Right. Exactly. So maybe, there's some flim flam and maybe he does end up out in the Bay Area. Who knows? But
I hope not.
That'll be a long shot, but that'll be tough for us being NFC fans. I agree with you.
Yeah. He still can sling it, man. I mean, you I can't hate on him, man. He can still sling it. The interesting thing is if he goes to the Jets, the Cowboys play the Jets at AT&T, where they make that a prime game Monday night or Sunday night or something like that, because I know that's going to have some hype to it. The Jets are up and coming young team, and that him coming back there, we thought we got rid of him. That would make for an interesting game. So I like Doug said, I can't wait. I get more excited for the schedule release than I do the draft because I just love kind of checking out the calendar and see where I can go and what fits in. So definitely looking forward to that. But I'm just ready for this draft. I'm draft out. Not a lot of football news going on. There's a few things here and there, but I mean everything seems status quo.
Yeah, not much else happening. Now, I mean, obviously, I think now the other shoe drops. Lamar Jackson signed, and then we'll see what happens with with the Kyler Murray situation. Yeah, they picked up another quarterback in Arizona. I don't know who the hell it is.
Oh, yeah.
They picked up somebody.
I know. He's some scrub.
Because Colt McCoy's hurt, too.
Yeah. So do we talk some basketball? You want Uncle Cheech is back from his cruise? I see him in the background. Do we bring Uncle Cheech in, or what do you want? What do you want to do, Jimmy?
Oh, you know what? Let's talk to Uncle Cheech.
Yeah, I mean, I want to find out what happened. First of all, he missed the show. He should be fined. There should be some sort of fine going out to him. But here, let's get this moved around. Uncle Cheech, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh, no, I'm going to see if I can fix this. So we get it. No, that's about the U. Let's see. There we go.
Uncle
now we
Cheech.
Got you going. Now we got it. I'll fix your camera. There we go. So what the hell happened to you? You weren't even here last week. You're supposed to be here on the show. I get a text saying, hey, I'm stuck. I ain't making it. You're going to have to go on without me.
Well, I had to go. Maria wanted me to take her on a cruise. We took a little cruise. But first of all, I want to say I know I missed last week. The week before, I told you UConn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy win. I talked to three coaches, one who won a couple of national titles and two other prominent coaches. And remember, you can only get that information on the Cave.
That's
You
right.
go to other podcasts, you ain't gonna get the inside information from other coaches like Uncle Cheech can. I know them all.
You ain't gonna make that money.
That's right. Hey, I got paid 2 weeks ago. I'm happy. Uncle Cheech,
No.
I owe you one.
Anyhow, many of you want me to take her on a cruise, so it's all right. So we leave out of Port Everglades and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
The first couple of days was okay, and then you saw what happened to Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
after that.
man.
We
Yeah.
were out there and up and down and up and down and side to side. I spent the next 4 days, I had my head in the toilet, calling for Ralph. Couldn't drink, couldn't eat, couldn't gamble. I told Minnie, I said, this is the last trip I go on. Last cruise.
Did you
I'm
tell
gonna
her?
stay on dry land. It was horrible.
Now, you made it back all right with all that rain?
Oh, horrible.
Now,
Did you tell her? What a crummy vacation.
I told her, I said, you better make me a big pot of chicken cacciatore when I get home.
were you did you like a waterbed? Someone asked it. He said you strike him as a waterbed guy. Did you like to have a
I
waterbed?
had one when I was younger.
There we go. So all right, he's
Wow.
right. And then someone said you got stuck on the stripper pole on the cruise. Is that any validation? Someone saw you on the cruise? No. All right. We just want to make sure we get everything out of the way. So you're down to do a lot of draft stuff. So do you have I know you were disappointed the draft changed time, this and that, but do you still like watching a draft on Thursday night? Is it something you're looking forward to?
Oh, I'm going to watch it.
More importantly,
I like to see if any hurricanes go.
what?
Number one.
Yes, we got Stevenson, who should be going in the second round unless
I
there's
don't
a
think the
run on
Dolphins have a
cornerback.
first rounder. I don't think, right?
No, I don't believe so.
Now, do you have the TV out back by the hot tub, or do you sit in your living room?
I have a TV by the hot tub out there. I
Very
have,
nice.
but he makes us some uduvas, brings them out there. Uduvas, the little sandwiches.
No, we know that. Now, more importantly, is Wednesday night. We got Charlie Ward coming into the cave. We're to talk, unfortunately, some FSU stuff, but he was part of Wide Right too. So I got a shot I can bring in there too, at least once. And then, of course, the '93 season national title stuff. So, what are you thinking of the Canes? They had their spring practice. Did you get any inside information?
I didn't get any of the spring practice, but I was reading today the sports. They say if Cristobal don't do a little better this year, he's going to be on the hot seat.
Man,
Already?
after 2 seasons?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I did that with Butch. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, you had to play. I thought, were you the one that set up the plane when the banner said from champs to chumps? Were you the one
I'm not saying nothing about that.
Oh,
Pleading the fifth.
He's
But I'll
pleading the
tell you
fifth.
what,
Yeah.
I was miserable. Couldn't sleep nights. Horrible. Seemed to go from champs to chumps. But then they went to champs again. I ended up eating my word. I told you, ever have Butch on the show, I will give him a personal.
I'm working on it. I'm working on that. That's the next one I'm working on. So hopefully I'd love to get Butch on there because I'd love to get his mindset of why he decided to leave the Canes to go to Cleveland. I know it was about the money, but he would have been the Nick Saban of college football back then. You know what I mean? So
Wouldn't even heard of Nick Saban if he would have stayed. I told you that 2 weeks ago. Never heard of.
No, they had dynasties. They had
when
dynasties.
you're a winner like that and you bring in that kind of talent, that's where the talent continues to go.
Yeah.
And his coaching staff himself must have had a good eye for talent because they brought in guys that, you talk about the draft or weren't even 5-star recruits, 4-star recruits. Some of these guys were no-star recruits. You get Sean Taylor and
now they got Santana Moss on a track scholarship.
yeah, Santana Moss. I mean, there's so many players I can't even remember all.
Yeah, he was a Cowboy killer
big
too.
Receiver they had, Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson. No, they were loaded. Now you let's just say you've been around the block. You lived a good life on this earth. I got to ask you a question. So on Twitter, there was a little bit of a debate, and someone said you had to bench cut or start, I guess it was, and they used Aikman, Romo, and Dak. Who was better?
Aikman, Romo, or Zach?
Dak Prescott.
Who's the better player?
Yeah.
Oh, Aikman, hands down.
Now you played with Now the one question I couldn't answer, I never saw Roger Staubach play. So Roger Staubach or Aikman.
Hey, Aikman's got the ring.
But Staubach's got 2, and he took him to 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Different game.
No, but I mean, in the era, did Roger Staubach mean more to the Cowboys
in
than
that?
that?
He was a great quarterback. He was great when he was at Navy. You used to watch him all the time.
Yeah. No, it's just I don't know. I mean, it's
those are a small school, like Navy. I mean, let's face it, they were a powerhouse when Newt Rockney was coaching. I don't even think they were. Army was.
Yeah. No, I just I hear when I heard that Aikman thing, it drove me nuts. I was saying Staubach, you could probably make it. If you're going to make an argument, it's Staubach or Aikman.
Case.
Yeah, you can make a case for either one of them. So it was just interesting. Now, Jimmy, what quarterback do you guys have? You got who do you got? You got Chris Chandler,
Chris Chandler, we got Mike. Come on, we got Mike Vick,
Steve Barkowski.
Steve Barkowski. Come on, David Archer. Come on, we had Jeff George.
Come on,
let me keep going.
Those are the tougher choices that you have. The Cowboys, I mean, it makes it difficult. But no, you're compared.
Joey Harrington. How can you beat that?
When you're comparing, I always say when you're trying to, it drives me nuts when you can compare errors of players, and I just don't think you can compare errors of players as long as they have championships. Like you could compare Aikman to Staubach. You probably don't want to, you could do it, but it's not fair because the game was different. I don't care where the game's changed. If you got Troy Aikman who's won 3 Super Bowls and you got guys that didn't won a Super Bowl, there's no comparison in that argument to me.
Hey, wait. Chris Chandler brought us to a Super Bowl.
No, he did. Yeah, that's true. The Falcons traded their best quarterback, Brett Favre.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. Now I'm gonna go throw up worse than Uncle Cheech did on that damn cruise.
Oh, don't remind. I'm getting flashbacks.
No, so go ahead, Jimmy.
I had a question for Uncle Cheech. Talking college football. I don't know much about college football. I only got onto this story because involved prime time. Atlanta Falcon legend, prime time, Deion Sanders, and I guess that he's losing a lot of guys in the portal, in the college portal. People are looking to leave, right? Which kind of caught me off guard. Do you think, and this is my opinion, do you think that he looks like he's laying down the law? It's no holds barred. He ain't screwing around, and maybe some of this younger generation can't handle that sort of coach laying the law down. Do you have any thoughts on that?
They want to go. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. They always say.
And
other players out there to be happy to take the plate.
Well, and I would say that
good too.
Yeah, I would say with Deion, he came in guns blazing now, let's be honest, the Colorado team won 1 game. So he told those kids there, he said, look, man, because you may want to start looking in that portal if you're not here to work. So I don't know who left. So I don't know the situation because he's new. I don't know if these guys who are already on the team, but it could be guys who are part of that Colorado team that are leaving because Deion's bringing his own. Like he made the joke, I'm bringing my own luggage. So maybe that upsets some of the kids. But you can't be afraid of competition. You can't be afraid of competition in work and sports and life and anything like that.
Well,
I welcome.
He played for Bobby Bowden. Let's face it, one of the greatest college coaches of all time. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that rubbed off on him.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby talks like a good old boy, but I'm sure he laid the law down, had a well-disciplined team.
Now,
No,
would you?
I don't drink Bud Light.
No, he was saying, does players like that drink Bud Light? Do you think the players that do that in a transfer portal, do you think they're probably Bud Light drinkers?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Uncle Cheech only drinks the best Chianti, and that is it. Let's be
No,
honest.
but it's interesting. And Bobby Bowden. That's what I'm really looking forward with Charlie Ward on Wednesday night. Shameless plug is just the thought of playing with a guy like that, because you think about the players that he had. Derek Brooks, work done on that team. Not only great athletes and Hall of Fame players, but character guys. I mean, you're talking about. I live in Tampa, so I saw Derek Brooks, what he did in Tampa and in the community. Work done. I mean, it's been well documented what he's done.
All them homes for the single mothers.
Yeah. I mean, that is, that's your parents raising, but it's also getting that influence from a coach is always like a father figure, a second father to a lot of these kids too. So,
Yeah, he didn't get all them players because he let them do what they wanted to do. Discipline.
Yeah.
These kids, most of these players, they beg for discipline. The players that really want to work, try hard, they want to be disciplined. They don't want to go out there and do whatever they feel like it, or they hit the road. You don't need that type of player on your team if I was a coach.
No.
Well, disciplined team, you got disciplined players, and those are teams that win, right?
Yeah.
And those are
you didn't win all them games. You're not going to win them games with an undisciplined team, all them games.
right.
No.
You're not.
No. Are you a Miller Lite guy?
And they could have won. What's that?
Are you a Miller Lite guy?
Now I am. Yeah. But, he could have won multiple championships if it wasn't for one game.
Yes.
Tell Charlie about that too.
No, we're going to talk about
national championships they could have won.
Yeah.
The one for that one game.
They can make that argument that year before we gave them their only loss. So, Ultra's got a question for you. Uncle Cheech, you've seen it all with the Miami Hurricanes. Who's the best coach in Hurricane history?
Oh, JJ.
You think so?
I think so.
Over Schnellenberger?
Schnellenberger got them where they need
to
be, but JJ brought out the
swag?
The swagger.
Yeah.
They were a feared team when he took over. After he got the team, they were feared.
They were a wrecking machine.
They didn't want to play them.
Where does Dennis? What about Dennis Erickson? He's a friend of the show.
He kept it going.
The thing with Erickson, he's underrated in a way that you look at that Texas game, you look at some of the games. He was one to just rub their face in it. You know what I mean?
I saw him several times getting out there before Florida State game, leading the team out there, waving his clipboard all over the damn place, running with him. So he's soft-spoken, Mr. Nice Guy, but he ran a pretty tight ship, I think.
What's so funny with the coaches, and even Dave Campo, you remember he coached with Jimmy Johnson at Miami. He came over with the Cowboys. He'll be on the show Thursday. Shameless plug. But the funny thing is, every guy that coaches at the Canes, we asked Dennis Erickson, Jimmy Johnson's been on record to say Schnellenberger. They've coached other places. Campo, who's from Connecticut, he even said they all consider themselves Canes. It's like when you become a Cane in some form or fashion, whether it be a player or coach, it's like it's a band of brothers for life. It's just a pretty unique thing that a lot of them have. That bond that they have being a Cane.
You owe it to the younger guys. They owe it to the younger guys that come back and mentor them.
Yeah, yeah. And that's and I'd asked Malik Rozier, who was on the show too, and I said, do the Canes still have that, to younger kids, like the kids going in high school now, do they look at the Canes like we do? And he said it's really a lot of the parents. So a lot of times when those young kids go to Miami, their parents are Canes fans. Their parents, they push them to go to the Canes, and because they remember the way it was, and they want to see if they can get it back. So it's an interesting dynamic with the Miami. And Jimmy, you were a Hurricane.
I was a Hurricane for
your alumni.
an alumni 6 weeks, so I can represent. Right? I went there. I went there through the good times.
You were there in the good years. You were there in the real good years.
The good weeks. Good month and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
and they were the team you loved to hate at the time back then.
Yeah.
Jimmy had them, Jimmy Johnson, Erickson. And then when Butch got him, it's a Jimmy Johnson man, right? He coached with Jimmy.
Oh yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, Butch had it, and it's the same thing. Butch said it, Dennis Erickson said it, Jimmy Johnson really didn't say it, but he might have said it after the whole that whole debacle that happened in Dallas. But every single one of them regretted leaving. I think Schnellenberger even said, because he went to the USFL and he regretted leaving. They all regret leaving Miami, but they leave for the money. And it's hard to blame coaches, especially back then. They weren't making the money that like Saban is and some of these guys are now.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I did want to ask Uncle Cheech one more question, and it's off topic, but so last week there was a bunch of St. Louis fans petitioning because I guess their XFL team in 3 games drew 35,000 plus, and they're saying, how the hell does LA have 2 teams and we don't have one? Right. And I get, unless a lot of that, unless that was a lot of paper, unless they were handing tickets out, buy one, get one free at Burger King. If they're drawing 35,000 XFL, don't they deserve an NFL?
I don't know why they lost. They were the St. Louis Cardinals, right, Jimmy? I mean, back in the day. I mean, it was
St. Louis Cardinals.
But then it was the Rams. There's no reason they should have lost that team. It's all about money, and the NFL is driven by money. And from what I've seen, the XFL has actually been pretty successful with The Rock, former Kane. Man in the ship and doing everything. It seems like the XFL, they had some success and they did the right things and the crowds are better. But yeah, I don't know why St. Louis lost the team. I think it was stupid.
It's ridiculous that they lost 2 teams. I don't understand that. I mean, they only have one other major league team, the Cardinals. They don't have hockey or basketball. I don't get it. It's a big time city.
No, I mean, look at the Cardinals. They sell out baseball. I mean,
the St. Louis Blues. Okay, they don't have basketball, right? They don't have, So they suck.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway.
follow all that.
But anyway, well, football you do. I mean, you remember old Jim Hart, quarterback, Neil Lomax. Come on,
Neil Lomax. Wow.
Conrad Dobler,
and all them. So anyway, all right, Uncle Cheech. So we're going to give you the rest of the night off. You make sure you get your stuff together. Be back Monday because that'll be draft week. We'll have some fun. Maybe we'll do a live mock draft. Everyone else did one. We'll do one mock draft. The Cowboys Cave mock draft. Maybe we'll do something like that. All right, man. All right, we'll see you.
Ciao.
See you,
Ciao.
Cheech. Take care.
He's the best.
He's funny.
No, he's the best. So he's full of wisdom, man. Full of life experience.
No.
You know what, Doug? I lost my mind for it because they suck so badly this year. Yeah, they won the Cup 3 or 4 seasons ago.
They had my favorite coach was a Blues Cup coach. Wasn't he? The guy shut your yap. Wasn't he on the Blues?
Oh, Tortorella?
They beat the Lightning, I think, one time in the playoffs. Wasn't it the Blues or is it not the Blues, but that was Columbus.
No,
that was
Columbus.
Maybe it
Columbus.
was that.
Now he's in Philadelphia. They sucked.
Yeah.
But I love him too. He's outspoken. Yeah. Torts.
But anyway, always good to have Uncle Cheech, though. I mean, he brings so much knowledge and wisdom. But I'm just telling you, I just still don't understand that whole Aikman, Romo, and Dak. And there was some people that actually were defending, that Romo was better, and saying that that Aikman had more talent than Romo around him. And I'm just telling you guys, I live both. I've seen them both. Tony Romo, in a couple of them years, especially that 2007 year, he had more. That team was more talented than the 90s team. I'm telling you they were. Yeah, People forget. Like, they talk about Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper was a good receiver, don't get me wrong, but what happened when he left? In the Super Bowl, 30, and I love Kevin Williams from Miami, but he was their number 2 receiver. Their other receiver was Deion Sanders that would come in every now and then.
Yes, I remember.
Jay Novacek. Everyone portrays Jay Novacek as this unbelievable. Like, he was just a blue chip player. He was a Plan B free agent. We got him from the Cardinals, and look at his numbers. He was great with the Cowboys. He fit the system for the Cowboys. But maybe Aikman had something to do with that. Maybe Aikman had something to do with Alvin Harper. Maybe Aikman had something to do with, that's where, because they kept saying that Romo makes his receivers better, but, Romo had T.O., and T.O. is arguably one of the greatest receivers of all time. Like him or hate him, but he's at least equal to Michael Irvin on the field. I'll take Michael Irvin on my team, but on the field talent-wise, Witten in his prime was head and shoulders above Novacek. You know,
he got me a lot of fantasy points.
their offensive line, the great wall that they had in those years, were better than the Cowboys offense. A lot of people Cowboys offensive line was a very good run offensive line. Very good. I mean, one of the best run offensive line. But I mean, Aikman got he got his ass whooped. I remember one Eagle game. I think he got sacked 11 times on Thanksgiving.
Hey, speaking of that, the Aikman era, did you see your boy Daryl Moose? He ended up, I think he's the commissioner of the USFL now.
He is.
Yeah.
He is, and
pretty cool.
I hate to jinx things, but there's been a verbal commitment that we might be getting the Moose on the show to do a little Cowboys preview.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Good.
We don't want to jinx anything. I got Eugene Lockhart in the works and all that type of stuff. So he was one of my favorite linebackers back, in that late 80s, kind of time frame. So I love having old Cowboys on to talk to not. But that's the thing, that's what I say, is like the Cowboys, don't get me wrong, that team was phenomenal. Team of the 90s. I mean, it was a great team, great players. Make no mistake about it. But great quarterbacks. If you're a great quarterback, you don't lose as a 1 seed to an 8 seed that you beat twice at home. It's just not supposed to happen. You look at every game that Aikman played in the playoffs for the most part. I know they got worked in one of them, but near the end of his career. But during that run, there was no close games in the first round or divisional round. I mean, they handled all those teams, and he was a great leader.
I forgot about Bobby Hebert.
Bobby, I loved him, Bobby Hebert.
Yeah,
but he was wasn't he more of a saint?
Yeah, but he came to us and
he's more of a saint.
We had a revolving door of quarterbacks for a little bit.
You guys until Matt Ryan, you guys, you had Vic though. Vic was really good for that.
Okay,
period
so Jerry Glanville bet the farm on Chris Miller, and he was a really good quarterback. Favre, self-admittedly, Favre was out getting plastered till 3-4 in the morning, showing up drunk. But I guess him and Glanville butted heads a little bit. So when he left, Chris Miller gets hurt the 5th game. So now we got Steve DeBerg playing. Yeah. I mean, now you can imagine. So that was a fiasco. Then we have Bobby Hebert, then Jeff George, and it was just and then we get Chandler, who brought us the Super Bowl, and then Mike Vick replaced him halfway through the 2001 season.
Yeah.
And
but that's and then you went from Vic to Matt Ryan. Vic to Matt Ryan?
Vic to Harrington to Matt Ryan.
Then Matt Ryan. Okay, it was pretty close. But I'm just saying, a lot of people, DeBerg was a solid quarterback. There's a lot of people that they're spoiled. You look at Green Bay. You look at the time, not now, but when you had that Peyton Manning into Andrew Luck, or you get, look at the Dolphins. I mean, they're still trying to get a Dan Marino. Yeah. It's hard. That's why I say it. It's hard to get a quarterback that's above average. So that's the hard thing with Dak is we've seen the Dak. I mean, I've seen the Dak who I'd put up against any quarterback, but then I've seen the Dak where I'm like, oh man, you guys killing me. I want to get rid of him. So it's just there hasn't been that consistency, and I think that's where I'm hoping that what McCarthy will bring is some consistency to Dak's game. And, whether it be taking some of it off, taking some of the pressure off, getting the running game going, whatever it ends up being. But it's hard. So it's hard. You can't give up on a quarterback because look at you guys gave up on Matt Ryan and you're searching and you're searching and you're searching and you're searching for a quarterback. And it ain't easy.
No, it's not. And to Doug's point, I mean, Matty Ice was the best quarterback we've ever had.
But I would think so.
Yeah. But that being said, I mean, we were in cap hell trying to, keep him in town. And that's what killed us.
Yeah.
And now that, we finally got that money back, we're spending money like drunken sailors. We got money flying out of our pockets, like those referees covering the Lakers games, right?
No, so. And it's good. And it's good. And again, to Ultra, I know he hates Dak. I get it. But I can't argue it. His 2 worst, I mean, he's played really good in the playoffs except 2 games. And both games are against the 49ers. He didn't play bad against the Rams that year. The year that we lost we got ran on, I don't know what they run for, 250, whatever. Yards. It was that a no-name running back destroyed us. What was his name? The dude from the Broncos, the fat guy. absolutely just destroyed us. That wasn't on Dak. I mean, Dak played all right. I mean, he played a good enough game to win. But the San Francisco game, both of them, they're on him, especially this last one because the defense did their job. That was
Okay.
100% on the quarterback. You can't. I mean, he has to own that.
Okay, you're right. You guys had the 49ers right where you wanted them.
Yeah.
And then, Purdy. But the thing is, from the outside looking in, I just look at some of the play calling, and I know it's been a redundant thing. We've talked about it a million times or going into the past. Some of the play calling was just bizarre, especially 2 seasons ago. When you guys had the ball late, that was crazy.
No, it was 100%. But I was just saying the defense played well enough. Really,
yeah.
They played well enough to win both games because the first game they ran. I was at that one. It was they got a touchdown early, but they didn't get nothing after. They got a bunch of field goals. We just didn't do anything on offense. And I think, hey, is the pressure too much for them in these games? I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying is you just got to figure it out. You got to figure out, great organization, make both. And the funny thing with this decision, Alex Smith and they moved up to get Mahomes. And my brother is a big Broncos fan. And I remember when they said they were benching Alex Smith and going with Patrick Mahomes, he was so excited. He's like, "Oh, these idiots are gonna," because he never heard of Patrick Mahomes or whatever. He said, and Alex Smith was proven he did well for the Chiefs that year. But to Ultra's point is that was a bold move, and it paid dividends. And sure enough, man, Mahomes turned out to be lights out. And obviously Andy Reid, that's why he's a coach, and we're sitting here yapping, and everyone else is sitting here watching, yelling at the screen. But he saw it, and he wasn't afraid to make that decision because Alex was the franchise. And I think you can give the Cowboys, you may give them credit for with that whole Romo. When Romo missed those games and the Cowboys were hot and went on that streak, it would have been real easy for him to go back to Romo and say, "Hey, it's his job," and you don't know what would have happened. You never know. But they stuck with Dak that season, so I mean it is what it is. But we don't have Patrick Mahomes sitting in the wings. And Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be at the 26th pick. So if they get a quarterback, it's going to be one of those diamonds in the rough that they develop, like Dak was a 4th round draft pick that they're going to have to find.
Well, and keep in mind, okay, and obviously it's a different scenario, a different situation, but Chris Chandler coming off the Super Bowl, Jamal Anderson had gotten hurt, so obviously I'm opening Monday Night Football, and I think it was against the Cowboys, if I remember correctly. He blew his knee out. So now we're part of the way through the season, and we had drafted Mike Vick at that point, and Dan Reeves said, "Look, we're not going. I'm going to sit Chandler, and we're starting Vick." And then it was the right move.
No,
and it was a ballsy move considering Chandler had brought us his Super Bowl. Not a great quarterback, more of a manager, but still he brought us there. So it was a ballsy move.
No, absolutely. I mean, the same thing with backfired on the Ravens when they did that to Trent Dilfer and they got Elvis Gerback or whoever they got. But that's where I say, like told your thing with Mahomes on a rookie deal and they didn't resign Hill, use a pick. You could do that because you have Mahomes. I mean, there's only one Mahomes. It's Mahomes and a stack of quarterbacks underneath him, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but Burrow would be kind of like that, probably like second one in my opinion. But you'd still lock most of them. They get lumped up into one box. Mahomes is right now. He's the man. You got to give him that credit, but hopefully we'll dethrone him soon enough. But we'll see what happens. So Jimmy, we're getting to the end of the clock, and I know we want to talk a little NBA. I watched NBA. I watched my Miami Heat take care of the Bucks, and did the Bucks change their colors? I thought they were green and the uniforms are blue, unless I'm colorblind. But maybe it's an alternative uniform or something like that. But a lot of injuries in the NBA first game of the playoffs for a few teams.
I got news for you. That Miami game. I mean, them first of all making it through both play-in games was a shocker, right? But that being said, well, they lost the first one, won the second one. But that being said, with Giannis being hurt, I know Tyler Hero got hurt. His hand is broken. He's done.
He's done.
But Giannis, him being hurt, depending on how long that injury lasts, you could see the number one team get dethroned.
Well, they said his MRI is clean. No, I mean, but that doesn't mean anything. Can he play?
Right.
If he's got pain and discomfort, he may struggle still.
Can he play effectively is the question, right?
Yeah.
It
And
gets
you get
back.
an elbow to the backside if I'm playing defense.
Exactly. Right. I mean, and Miami, I give them credit. They're playing ballsy and they're doing what they have to do. But that's huge. And like you said, that's when you start leveraging that, down in the low post, a little nudge, a little forearm,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to happen. And he's going to have to expect it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, with the Knicks and Julius Randle, I didn't think he was going to play games 1 or 2, and he comes back and has a great first half and didn't really look, that hurt. Maybe the Knicks were making him play possum a little bit,
Yeah.
kind of like Dusty Rhodes, maybe playing a little possum. But yeah, it's that whole situation's interesting. Now we'll see what happens. Miami steals one on the road, and I'd love to see.
Well, then you saw the Lakers win, right? The Lakers won a game,
Yeah.
and Sixers handled their. Obviously, the Knicks did.
Mhm.
I mean, the odd thing to me, again, I'm not a basketball guy, so I can't really talk a lot about it. But the teams that you're seeing, like I'm seeing the Memphis Grizzlies, then I see the Sacramento Kings are the 3rd seed, and they beat the Golden State Warriors, who's a 6th seed. It's just like, man, it's not what I'm, Usually those
It's
are the bottom
different.
dwellers,
No, and there's so much trash talking going on social media right now. It's crazy with all these guys, and which makes it fun. Can't stand the Knicks. You know what? Hey, Ultra Cowboy and Mike Tag knows this. I can't stand him. I don't like him. Him and his antics. And first of all, I'll give him. He is a Knicks fan, but then he busts out like he's a Yankees fan and all this crap.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro. I don't like him. So we're in agreement there. Ultra Cowboy, feel free to rip on him all you want. And I'll roll along with it. Screw him. And I like when Fat Joe's in the front row, then I'm a happy camper. Fat Joe, it's time to blow. But yeah, so then what? And then right now, as a matter of fact, little NHL, right now, the Panthers are playing the Bruins, right? We talk about hot quarterbacks, we talk about momentum. So the Panthers are going in with a goaltender who's been hot. Alex Lyon, right? Killing it. He's a backup. Actually, he was the 3rd stringer at the beginning of the season. They're coming in hot, right? The Bruins, the best record in NHL history, whether it's the old school, new school, the best record in history, right? So they're just a very, very good team. But that's where the possible upset happens, right? When you got a hot goaltender coming in. So again, you just don't know how things are going to come out in the playoffs. How are things going to evolve in the playoffs? Anybody know the score of that game right now that's going on?
Well, and the interesting thing too is I remember the Lightning were the number had the same thing, best record, and they got bounced in the first round. And I think that's the game I remember was Tortorella, and it must have been the Columbus Blues, maybe
the Blue Jackets.
Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
I think they swept them. So that's a thing with hockey that I'll give, and I don't know much about it, but if you get a hot goalie, it can change everything.
That's right. Everything. And guess what? Tampa Bay is going in playing against Toronto. Toronto's got a really good team. They have Matthews and Marner. But I got news for you. When you guys have one of the best goaltenders ever, right? Andre Vasectomy, as I call him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets hot in the playoffs, and you got Kucherov, Stamkos. I mean, they're great, and they're gonna have their presence felt. But you get a hot goaltender going in, you never know what's going to happen. But I think you guys, the Lightning, beat the Leafs easily. I think it's a 5-6 game series, and then just some intriguing matchups in both basketball and hockey right now.
Yeah, well, it helps pass the time, but my time is football. That's all I can say. And I was just reading some of the comments. Obviously, the Knicks are a player away, which maybe they are, but just looking back, just to get it back. So Mahomes is level by himself. There's no one in the draft like him. I definitely agree. And yeah, the Cowboys drafted got Steve Walsh in the supplemental draft. A lot of that, if you listen to Jimmy Johnson's book, some of it was strategic. They just having a plan. Jimmy Johnson was a fan of having a couple quarterbacks. But what he thought he could do is he thought he could parlay that into draft picks later, which they ended up, I think, if my memory's right, they got 2 first-round draft picks out of Steve Walsh from the Saints. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 2. And one of the other interesting things is Eugene Lockhart, who we talked about having on the show, is actually it's a quote. If we get him on here and lock it in, which he said he would, but nothing's for certain until they come on. He got traded to New England, and for a first-round draft pick. That first-round draft pick ended up being Russell Maryland. And they quoted Eugene Lockhart. He loved the Cowboys, was there, and he goes, He said the NFL is a cold business, cold business, and it's even colder in New England.
You know,
Yeah, he
thanks,
didn't want to go there.
Vince.
didn't wanna
No,
play New
do
England.
you blame him at the time? Vince,
No.
1-0. We appreciate that. Hey, Ultra Cowboy and Doug, I agree with you both about MJ and LeBron James. Can you imagine LeBron James playing back in the days when it was Chicago and Detroit, Chicago and New York?
Now
and
you
the guys
don't think MJ's the greatest. I'll argue anyone about this, but I don't want to discredit LeBron James. A big man. You don't think that he could compete and be a top player? I mean, at least be a top player in his prime. I mean, he's pretty old now, but in his prime, you don't think LeBron could be a top player in the NBA in that
No,
era?
I mean he would be a top player, but not the GOAT. I mean, I'm
No.
sorry. You put him down there with guys like Bill Laimbeer and Charles Oakley back then, getting his ass kicked all over the place. He's a punk ass bitch. All he does is run his mouth and cry and whine. That's all we hear from him. And last week we talked on the show about him calling out, whining bringing up Kobe Bryant's name. That
Yeah.
name should stay out of his mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you bringing up? Rest in peace to the guy. And you're worried about, one of your teammates liking him when he was a kid. That guy, he's got rings, made a lot of money. He is a damn good player. He's a great player, but I think he's a punk ass bitch.
Nah, he's just part of that. I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old man, so I gotta be careful.
No. Do it. Come on. We're not
No, I
old.
just say it's just part of the generation. That generation, that's what it is. It's that entitlement. It's you're the chosen one. You're the king before you achieve all the things that you're supposed to achieve. That's what you live in today's world. I see it in business. I see it in education.
Right.
I see it in everything. Everyone wants, when they get hired, they got to have a title. They got to start at a high pay. They've got to do all this. No one wants to work from the bottom. And I could say, like, for and work your way up. Like, I have a guy who I work with. He started at the bottom. He started in a warehouse, and then he worked his way up and moved up to this. He moved up to that. He moved up to this. And he kept moving up, and now he's very successful salesperson. I'm very successful, and has built a great territory. And he's done all. And he started. He didn't get handed, all the stuff. He had to work for it, and that's where I think a lot of people miss that. When I started, I got handed nothing. I started. I moved up to Tampa, had nothing. I had a miserable salary. If I didn't sell, I didn't eat. I lost my girlfriend. She wasn't going to be up here. I'm broke. Who the hell wants to stay with you? You have all those things that you got to go through those are that's what makes you what you are. And that's what makes you appreciate everything you have. And I don't want to get all philosophical and get all, sentimental and stuff like that. But that's where I think some of the generation's missing. It's all instant gratification. It's instant this, got to have that, it's the same thing when you see like the TikToks and Instagrams and the YouTube. Everything's got to be 2-minute reel because they don't have attention span for anything else. It's like my kids, they got, big TVs in their rooms, and they got all the technology and all that. And they sit and watch, they're like this, watching TV. They're watching YouTube on their phone. And it's like, you got this big ass TV right in front of you. You can watch the game, but yet you want to watch it on your phone. I don't know.
Which I agree with you. And you know what? This is something, well, real quick, Ultra Cowboy, yes. Anthony Mason, hands down.
Mason. I liked him.
My favorite basketball player ever. Obviously my favorite Nick, but my favorite basketball player ever. If you ever pull up Diamond D, go on YouTube after this show. Wait until we're done, please. Pull up Diamond D, best kept secret. Anthony Mason's in that video. It's the best. You'll love it. But, what we're talking about now, honestly, we kind of thrown around this idea. Yourself and Kelly K9 and I got to get that show
we'll
going
do it
on a Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
We're throwing a couple back and maybe philosophize a little bit.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to do a live. We do a live one and get with it. I mean, shoot, I wanted to do calls today. I've totally forgot. We got sidetracked. You should have reminded me. I have everything set up. We're getting better at it. I'm trying to get it's not an easy technology to do. It's not seamless, but I can get it done. Yeah. But we're going to want to do more of that. We did it, and we had a blast talking to everybody. So I just, that's what we want to do. Now it's kind of hard because there's not a whole lot going on. But once the seasons and once all that stuff gets going and playoffs get a little deeper for basketball in hockey, if you're a hockey fan or baseball or whatever, we want to do strictly call-in show. I mean, I love just talking and getting opinions. And like I said, for that, that Eagle fan who was just ranting and raving and just saying the same old crap, if he would have come in educated, he could have called in. I mean, he had an opportunity to call in, say your piece. I'm going to be respectful. I'd never disrespect anyone. If you got opinions, I mean, I don't know. I've been corrected a million times, and I'll get it corrected a million more, and that's just life, and you learn about it. And I got to take my lumps. I was on a call today, and they made fun of my Cowboys, and I mean, that's what happens. I got to deal with it. I tell you, that's just a part of life. But anyway.
Hey, can you imagine the abuse I've taken over there?
No, the Cowboys are on another level. I cannot go anywhere without somebody talking shit. I am sorry for the language to all the nice viewers, but I was at a nice little community fair downtown. They got the Ferris wheels, you got all that crap, and then you got to walk through the game area.
Yeah,
you got to walk through the game area. You got the guys there, 2 tickets or the ride, and I'm wearing my Cowboys shirt. I got my nice shorts I just got. I got my Cowboys hat, minding my own business, and then I get this guy that says, you're a Cowboys fan? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're in Tampa. I said, yeah, I know. I said, oh, yeah, we're the team that ended Brady's career and beat the hell out of you in the playoffs. That's a Cowboys team. Then he started back. He goes, well, I'm not a Bucs fan. I'm a Niners fan. I said, oh, now we switch our teams to fit the narrative. So what do you want to? What are we talking about? Yeah. And then I walked by another one, and they wanted me to play a game, and I said, no, I'm not ready for that. Just joking. He goes, yeah, just like your Cowboys. Whoa. And I'm like, yeah, it's always something. So then I have to clap back. And and the guy, usually, because when I talk, I mean, if people see my hype videos, if I get going about the Cowboys, my voice gets louder and I get a little, so it looks like I'm getting angry, but I'm really not. I'm just kind of, I'm just talking my noise. He's like, man, I'm just kidding. I was like, no, man, I'm fine. I mean, I could dish it out. I could take it. I whatever you want. But I never started. I remember taking my kids to Disney World. There would not be a time that someone would come in and comment about the Cowboys because I'm wearing something. It's just that's the polarizing nature that they had for some reason.
Remember the time, what was it, last year, maybe last April or May, we were down in Fort Lauderdale and we went to Big Daddy's, Flanagan's or whatever, and the waiter,
Giants fan.
So I didn't want to say none at the time, but when they put your order in the back, they.
Yeah, I know.
You enjoy that hamburger.
I don't eat nothing. But no, it's funny because my brother and our buddy went down there and he waited on them a year, it was like
really?
A year or so later. Yeah. They hey man, you're the Giants fan. They were laughing.
Was it Unibrow was down there?
No, it was my brother and
someone else.
Yeah.
All right.
And some people don't like their names put on
anonymity.
So.
So I
don't want to say nothing, but they had a good time. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Now it's funny because Ultra Cowboy brought up the Blue Oyster when you mentioned about a county fair. Remember, what instantly came in my mind why I chuckled a little.
Paulie?
Bit. Oh, well, no, Police Academy 2, when he's trying to figure out what to do, and he says, "A community fair." Right? That's when Zed shows up. I don't like the Ferris wheel. So that was what went right through my mind, right when you brought up.
Classic movies. The Blue Oyster. We all know the Blue Oyster. We know. We know. Ultra goes down there all the time. It's all good, man.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard about that.
He wears a sailor outfit.
223. Dancing, sir. Lots of dancing.
So anyway, hey man, we're up against the clock, so
I guess so.
I had a good time, man. We bumped over an hour, but no, listen. Hey, Wednesday, before I hit the like, subscribe, share. Wednesday, FSU national champion Charlie Ward coming in the cave. Thursday, Dave Campo, Cowboys coach for 18 seasons, head coach for a few. We won't talk too much about that. He was handed a really bad team, but that man was coach defense, was defensive coordinator of a Super Bowl championship team. So he definitely, and he was a coach for the other championship teams as well. So he's got 3 rings with the Cowboys. Got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you check it out. And what else am I missing, Jimmy?
Well, you're missing Charlie Ward, New York Nick, on our team for 2 championships. We didn't win. Well, we went to 2 championships.
Did he go to NBA Finals with them?
Yeah, finals.
I have to remember.
Yeah. Yep. So I like
we
Charlie
will see.
Ward.
But no, I appreciate it, Doug. Appreciate it, Ultra. Appreciate everyone in the chat, all the comments. It makes it fun. But we'll get that call. I definitely want you guys calling in when we get it going because we'll have a lot of fun. So
It's a great
all
time.
right, man.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys. Take care. Be safe. Have a great week.